Life has a funny way of nudging us toward places we never expected to be. My story didn't kick off with anything dramatic, just the dull rhythm of a life running on autopilot. I built my days around routine. Clock in, clock out, try to keep the family connection alive in between. But somewhere along the way, I lost sight of the man I once hoped I'd become. There wasn't one major event that pushed me to change. It was a slow build-up, a tense, joyless marriage, the endless grind of work, and health warnings I treated like background noise. Eventually, it all piled up until I couldn't lie to myself anymore. Then came the memo, a simple, unassuming notice that somehow turned everything upside down. Reading it cracked something open in me. Old memories I thought I'd buried came rushing back, and front and center was Celeste, my ex-wife. The same woman who had gutted our marriage with cold precision. And now, she was the new head of my department. The timing felt too cruel to be a coincidence. I remembered the weird relief I felt when we split, like coming up for air after years underwater. But I hadn't counted on her storming back into my professional life. Celeste used to joke that I was a walking heart attack, and painfully enough, she wasn't wrong. My doctor had already sounded the alarm, but I shrugged it off. I told myself I was just working hard for the family. Meanwhile, Celeste's ambitions were insatiable, and I was expected to keep fueling them without rest. That's how I was raised, to provide, no matter the cost. We had the house, the pool, even a country club membership that collected dust. But none of it made her happy. She morphed from the woman I loved into someone unrecognizable, calculating, cruel, impossible to please. That memo? It was my wake-up call. I couldn't serve under a woman who'd humiliated me behind closed doors and pretended to be flawless in public. So I made my decision. I packed my things, wrote a short, direct resignation letter, and prepared to leave it all behind. On my way out, I placed my badge, phone, keys, and corporate card on Leah's desk. "It's been good working with you. You're sharp. Don't let her take that from you," I said. Leah raised an eyebrow. "So you're really walking out?" "Yeah. I can't take orders from someone I don't respect." She crossed too many lines. "I'll miss you, Miles. She's going to lose it when she finds out. I've been trying to keep your exit under wraps, but I feel bad not saying anything sooner." "You did your job," I told her. This was coming the moment that merger memo hit my desk. "What do I say when she starts throwing a fit?" Leah asked, looking uneasy. "Just tell the truth. She can't fight that. And don't sell your soul to keep the peace." Leah chuckled softly. I shook her hand and kissed it gently. "Take care of yourself. I'll check in now and then." As I climbed into my car, a sleek limo pulled up. Out stepped Celeste, flanked by two sharply dressed men, strutting like royalty. She looked like some polished executive, power heels, perfect makeup, the works. But I knew what was underneath. She wasn't a leader, she was just another social climber in a tailored suit, playing pretend with a title. She didn't notice me. I gave it a beat, then drove off for the last time. I'd already cleared the deck, sold what I didn't need, stored the rest. My doctor had suggested a fresh start, and for once, I listened. 3 months of traveling followed, not luxury or escape, just distance. Eventually, I stumbled upon a small lakeside town that felt untouched by the noise I'd left behind. The people were warm, the pace was slow, and the fishing was honest. I rented a 3-bedroom cottage on the lake with the option to buy. It felt like the kind of peace I didn't realize I'd been chasing. One quiet evening, I sat on the porch with a cold drink in hand, watching the lake ripple under the breeze. I started wondering how Celeste reacted to my sudden departure. So the next morning, I gave Leah a call. "Hey Leah, it's Miles. How are things going over there?" "Miles, I thought you'd disappeared off the face of the earth," she said, half laughing. "Not quite. I just found a better view. You'd like it here. What's the fallout looking like?" "You definitely stirred the pot," she said. "Celeste losing it. She's firing people like it's a sport. Julian Marks quit after she shoved him down into the basement archives. He hated it. Damn. Julian was solid. She's going to ruin that place if she keeps torching people." "How's she treating you?" I asked. "She tried to fire me on day one. Said I let you leave too easily. Told me I didn't have a boss, so maybe I should leave too. I said I'd sue her and the company if she touched my job. Then I mentioned your name. That shut her up real quick." Leah let out a dry laugh. "I'm stuck as her secretary now. I told her I expected a raise. She hated it, but I got it. She filled me in on all the latest drama. I hadn't left to make a scene, but I couldn't deny it was satisfying to hear that my exit shook things up. Still, part of me worried about the others stuck in her storm. The next morning, I realized I was out of sugar and stopped by a nearby store. As I stepped outside, I almost collided with a young couple on their way in. Behind the counter was a woman in her 20s, visibly overwhelmed as her baby started crying. "Can I help you?" she asked, clearly stretched thin. "Looks like the little one's hungry." "I'll cover the counter while you handle that," I offered. She looked surprised but grateful. "Thanks. I'm Tessa, by the way." I helped out for a while, fueling up cars, wiping windshields, chatting with locals like I'd always been there. When I came back inside, a man was browsing the fishing rods. "Can I help you with something?" I asked. "Just looking," he said. "Got stranded here on a business trip while my car's getting fixed." He looked like your typical businessman. Neat shirt, polished shoes, and for a moment, I saw a bit of myself in him. Noticing he was eyeing a cheap fishing rod, I asked casually, "You fish often?" "Not really," he said. "But I've always wanted to." I smiled. "Well, you're in luck. You've got the right guy." I ended up talking him into investing in a better rod, promised it'd make the whole experience more enjoyable. He seemed genuinely excited, and that small exchange gave me a weird sense of satisfaction. I helped a few more customers while Tessa worked on calming her baby. "Thanks, Miles," she said when things finally settled down. "It always gets chaotic when I least expect it." I chuckled. "Sounds like quantum mechanics. Don't ask me to explain it." Tessa's expression twisted, pain flashing in her eyes. I instantly felt I'd said the wrong thing. "Sorry, I didn't mean anything by it," I said quickly. "It's not your fault," she replied, her voice quiet. A tear sat frozen at the edge of her eye. "I'm a widow, Miles. My husband Ethan was killed in a training accident with the Army Reserves. A truck rollover. He never even knew he was going to be a dad. I think Ellie was conceived the night before he left." She wiped her cheek, then gestured toward the store. "This whole place was his idea, the shop, the land, all of it." I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded, letting her have the silence she needed. In the weeks that followed, I started helping out at the store whenever I could. Tessa was beautiful, no doubt, and I hadn't felt wanted in a long time. But it wasn't just that. Being around her made me feel useful again, like I had value. Celeste had done a number on me. Her cheating, the constant criticism, it all sent one message. I wasn't enough. I couldn't provide. I wasn't what she wanted. That had been the final blow, the thing that pushed me out the door. Tessa never asked for help, but she always welcomed it. She had this warmth, this easy way of making me feel appreciated, not just tolerated. She was thoughtful, kind, even funny when she let her guard down. After a long stretch of cold silence and cold shoulders, it felt like oxygen. Then one night, my phone rang just as I was heading home. "Good thing you're not Secretary Miles. You'd be fired for your phone manners," Leah teased. "Hey, Leah," I laughed. "I had to wait until I got home to call," she explained. "I didn't want to risk that which tapping my work phone." There was a pause, then a more serious tone. "Miles, you need to watch your back. Celeste hired a private investigator. She asked me to give him your trail. I couldn't say no, but I'm warning you now so you can stay under the radar." I sighed. "Has she made it her mission to haunt me?" "I don't know," Leah said. "She's been working nonstop, but it's obviously eating her alive. She looks 10 years older. Gained a lot of weight, too." "Well, she's not pregnant," I muttered. "Maybe not," Leah said, laughing. "Unless it's the stress and freezer ice cream. She's a wreck, obsessed with finding you. She blames me for not stalling you long enough." "Jesus," I muttered. "Here's what I think," Leah continued. "Let it sit for a week. Then I'll tell her the PI came up empty but confirmed your number is legit. So you talked me into passing along a message. You sure about that?" I asked, surprised but intrigued. "I don't want to get dragged into this," she replied. "But you've got to do what's best for you." "Thanks, Leah. Just take care of yourself first," I said. A week later, I got a text. "PH no. 2BB today. Be ready for call." I laughed at her shorthand. Sure enough, the phone rang. I picked up. "Yes, Celeste. What do you want?" There was a pause. Then she snapped. "What's that witch of a secretary been up to?" I hung up. The phone rang again. I ignored it. It rang a third time. "Damn it, Miles," she yelled. I hung up again. Leah called next. "You gonna talk to her, or what?" I smirked. "Tell that witch to try being polite. Maybe then she'll get more than 2 words out. I'm done letting her yank my chain." Leah laughed. "Got it. Talk soon." 5 minutes later, Celeste called back. "Miles," she said. "Yes, Celeste. What do you want?" Long pause. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" "I'm listening." Another pause. Leah cried on your shoulder, she said bitterly. What did she tell you? I asked, curiosity rising. She's loyal, Miles, Celeste said. She's the only reason we're talking. You should be thanking her. So, again, what do you want? Celeste sighed. I'm sorry, Miles. I've been under so much pressure. Leah's doing great, and I do appreciate her. I could tell she was trying to soften the blow, wrap things in apologies, but I wasn't buying it. Get to the point, Celeste. What is it? There was a muffled sob. I need to talk to you. I need your advice. I thought we were still a team, but you quit before I had the chance to explain. I laughed bitterly. Team? Celeste, I saw the writing on the wall. Your company swallowed mine. I wasn't going to sit around waiting for the next humiliation. I get it, but please, she said, practically begging. Just give me 30 minutes to pitch my idea. I don't know who else to go to. My jaw clenched. Every instinct told me to hang up, but I hesitated. Fine, I said at last. But I'm not chasing you. You'll meet me. Leah will let you know the time and place. I hung up. The next day, Celeste asked, why do I have to go through Leah? Why not just give me Miles's address? Leah, gripping the steering wheel, snapped, because Miles doesn't want to see you unless you meet him halfway. Take it or leave it. But I'm not hanging around once we get there. That evening, I was chopping vegetables when Leah called. We're about 30 minutes out. I didn't want Celeste to feel welcomed, just tolerated. So I stayed busy, hoping it threw her off. 15 minutes later, a knock came at the door. It's open, I called. Leah walked in first, grinning. Well, don't you look settled in? I smiled. Hi, Leah. Good to see you. You look great. Celeste hovered behind her, eyes darting around the room. Celeste, I said flatly. Leah picked up on the tension immediately. I could use a drink, she said, stepping forward with a friendly hug and a kiss on the cheek. Wine? Beer? Or Coke? I asked, holding up my hands, still streaked with food prep. Want something to drink? I shot a glance at Celeste, who immediately dropped her eyes, sensing the edge in my tone. Hi, Miles, she said softly. A glass of wine would be nice. Leah's right. You look good. Leah opened a bottle of chilled white wine, poured 2 glasses, and handed one to Celeste. Which way's the view from the edge of the world? She teased, stepping toward the window. I'll let you two have the floor, Leah said, smirking. But just so we're clear, I'm not cleaning up whatever mess comes out of this. She winked, full of sass. Behave, I muttered, pointing to the back door. There's a fishing rod on the deck. You can try your luck. Leah rolled her eyes. Please. I wouldn't know one end from the other. And with that, she was gone. I turned to Celeste. Take a seat and tell me why you're really here. She hesitated, clearly trying to read the room. Slowly, she sat, her eyes scanning the cottage. It's a nice place, she said, forcing a smile. Small, I replied curtly, irritation slipping through. But nice. Look, Celeste, I'm not here for small talk. Say what you came to say. She let out a slow breath, sipped her wine, and looked down at her hands. Can I ask you one thing? You can ask, I said. Doesn't mean I'll answer. She nodded. Why did you leave? I turned to look at her. She knew me well enough to expect me to blow up. I could see her bracing for it. But I didn't snap. I set the knife down, dried my hands, and faced her. You don't need a degree in rocket science to figure that out, I said. You're a VP now, surely you've got the IQ points for this. She scowled. That was low, Miles. I'm good at what I do, but I can't read minds. I crossed my arms. True. But a decent leader knows how to read people, what drives them, what burns them out. Managing isn't about barking orders. It's about balance. Compassion. Knowing your damn team. I narrowed my eyes. You want to know what I think of your corporate skills, Celeste? She tensed but nodded, challenging me. You're a bulldozer, I said, not holding back. No finesse. No tact. You charge through problems without considering anyone else. You don't look. You don't listen. You just plow forward. Her mouth dropped slightly. A bulldozer? Yeah. You bulldoze your way to whatever you want and leave wreckage behind. You don't pause to ask who's bleeding in your wake. A tear welled up in her eye. For a moment, she actually looked human again, vulnerable. I didn't want that, she whispered. Everything I did. I thought I was doing it for us. I let the silence linger. She continued. I know I hurt you. I am sorry. But if you'd stayed, I could have explained. I had a plan. I saw what was coming, I said as I stirred the sauce. I knew you were sent a clean house. You were the scalpel, no, the hammer. I wasn't going to wait around to be cut loose, so I left. I made it easier for you. She leaned forward, her voice hardening. Miles Corbin, for a smart man, you do the dumbest things. I wasn't going to fire you. If you were half as intuitive as you pretend to be, you'd know that. Oh, so now it's my fault? I scoffed. You're great at that, pulling at my heart while stroking your own ego. But let's not pretend you weren't playing me the whole time. Celeste didn't flinch. You and I used to sit up late, talking about how clueless corporate was. I believed in you, Miles. I still do. I've been working to salvage your company, to bring it back. And now I have the chance to push your ideas further than you ever could on your own. I gave a dry laugh. Right. And now it's the guilt trip act. Poor Celeste, left to rebuild alone. Desperate for help from the man she crushed. She looked down again. You've left me struggling without ever hearing me out. All I wanted was a little help from the one person who once knew me best. There was a crack in her voice now. She looked up. It's you, Miles. I need you. We could still build something together. I'm not naive, I said. I'm not waiting for some fairy tale reunion. But if, and that's a big if, we can find a way to work together, maybe we could build something strong, business-wise. So let's just call a truce. Set our baggage aside. Prove we're still a force to be reckoned with. She took another slow sip of wine, leaning back in her chair. Her fire was dim now. The ball was in my court. I drained the sauce and set water to boil for the pasta. My mind, though, kept circling one thought. ET2, Brutus? That's how I'd felt when I discovered how she'd used the company for her own gain. Celeste charm, no doubt. But behind the smile, there were three words that echoed through everything. Good Celeste, huh? A good manager weighs all the consequences, I said finally. So let's say I agree to this. What exactly makes you think I'm useful to your plan? Her face tightened. She didn't like the question. I've already told you, she replied, slightly annoyed. You're smart, experienced, and respected. People will listen to you. Your biggest roadblocks were the suits upstairs. But that's changed now. I'm the one in charge. I shook my head. And that's exactly the problem. Your presence, you, make it impossible for me to earn real support. You don't see it, but people talk, Celeste. She frowned, lips tightening. Have you ever stopped to think why people hesitate to back you? I asked. The rumors about your business ethics are everywhere. And don't flatter yourself. I never said you spread them. But you sure haven't done anything to stop them either. I could tell by her silence that she hadn't expected this conversation to turn out this way. And maybe, for once, she was actually hearing it. People don't see you as a strong executive, I said, voice even. They see you as someone who slept her way to the top, stepping over anyone who got in the way. Celeste's expression faltered. They know about our marriage, Celeste. And that's why I couldn't keep working there. When I divorced you, I walked out with my dignity intact and the respect of my peers. If I signed on with you now, I'd be telling them everything you did was acceptable. I'd lose their respect. And more than that, I'd lose myself. Tears formed in her eyes. I could see it, the cracks forming in the version of herself she'd been clinging to. I don't believe you, Miles, she said, her voice trembling. I've worked hard to get where I am. Colin wouldn't have promoted me if I wasn't capable. I shook my head, a strange mix of anger and pity boiling beneath the surface. You still don't see it? Did Colin come to you with the takeover plan? Or did you push him into it? Celeste dabbed at her eyes, sitting up straighter like she needed to feel in control again. It doesn't matter. I'm not Colin's puppet. So, you pushed him, I said, arching a brow. Yes, she admitted, a little stronger now. At first, he resisted. But eventually, I convinced him. I pitched the board. They loved it. I nodded. Just as I expected. And when he agreed, did he entertain you for your effort? She flinched. Her eyes gave her away. The sigh that followed sealed it. Why would you think that? I tilted my head, a smirk tugging at the edge of my mouth. You know why I was good at my job, Celeste? Because I studied people. Every person I met, including you. I learned what made them tick, how they moved, what they feared. The mistake I made? Letting my feelings for you cloud that judgment. I leaned in slightly, just enough to drive the point home. My grandfather used to say, if you're not getting smarter, you're just getting older. Took me a while, but I get it now. I don't just listen to what people say, I watch what they do. If their words and actions match, I can work with them. If they don't, I know they're trouble. Celeste stayed quiet. Her face blank, but I knew she was listening. Colin doesn't care if you win or fail, I said. If this all goes south, he'll throw you under the bus and blame the board. But if it works, he gets to look like a genius for backing you. She sipped her wine, saying nothing. But there was a flicker in her eyes. She knew I was right. Don't fool yourself into thinking you have his support. You're alone in this. Just another piece on the board. As long as you keep him entertained, he'll smile. But when that ends, you're on your own. A small fish, swimming in waters filled with piranhas. Celeste clenched her napkin, knuckles white. She was scared, but she still couldn't admit it. So you don't think I can do it? She asked, her voice tight. No, Celeste, I said without hesitation. I don't think you can. I know you can't. The anger flared in her eyes. Her jaw tightened, but I didn't let up. You'll burn it all down. From VP to corporate ghost. Where's your precious safety net then? She stayed silent. Word is, you've already created chaos. People are scrambling to clean up your mess. If I had to guess, I'd say next quarter's report will show a 25% drop. You can dress it up all you want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to why you started this. I took a breath, watching her closely. You told me you loved me, that you were doing all this for us. Celeste flinched, but gave a small nod. No, I said. You did it to protect yourself. You were scared. You watched me work myself into the ground, and you did nothing. She blinked, confused. You said I was a heart attack waiting to happen. Remember that. I leaned in again. You didn't try to stop me. You didn't plead. You didn't even threaten divorce. You just waited, letting me burn out while you made plans behind my back. Celeste opened her mouth, guilt washing over her face. I love you, Miles, she said, barely above a whisper. I do. Even now. I shook my head slowly. You say you love me, but you were willing to watch me die for a paycheck. Does that sound like love to you? She looked away, unable to meet my eyes. I didn't mean the things I said back then, she added. I regret a lot of it. Maybe you do, I replied. But regret doesn't fix what's broken. Love doesn't erase the fact that I can't trust you. Not as a partner. Not in business. I stepped back, grabbing a towel to wipe my hands. This conversation's over. You made it to the top. Congratulations. But from here on out, you climb alone. And if you want the CEO seat, you'll have to wait for Colin to move aside. Because that's your real goal, isn't it? She opened her mouth to protest, but I cut her off. Don't bother. You're not looking for a partner. You're looking for someone to grind themselves into dust while you collect the praise. I can't believe you thought I'd fall in line. When I kicked you out the first time, I said, I thought I made it clear. I'm not weak. But maybe I should have let you fail a lot sooner. Celeste looked stunned, caught between guilt and stubbornness. You're wrong, Miles, she whispered. Completely wrong. I sighed. Tired now. Done. You ever hear the phrase, sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind? She didn't respond. I wasn't kind, Celeste. I let you think there was still a chance. I let Colin promote you, thinking maybe you'd figure it out. I paused, holding her gaze one last time. But I'm done letting you pull the strings. I never wanted to see you fail, Celeste. Even though, if I'm honest, you probably deserved it. I stood, giving the sauce a stir as it simmered behind me. The mistake was not cutting you off sooner. You wanted me to fall for those sweet little notes, to believe you still cared. But if I'd really done what I should have, you'd be gone by now, starting over somewhere. Maybe even learning something from the experience. I glanced back at her. That's what I'm telling you now, walk away. Start fresh. This isn't going to end the way you hope. Celeste's face crumpled as fresh tears streamed down her cheeks. But even now, I saw defiance rather than humility in her eyes. You'll probably end up back at square one, I said. Maybe even licking stamps in some back office while your boss flirts with you for fun. And honestly, that might be the break you need. She tried to speak, but her throat caught the words. I know I hurt you, Miles, she finally choked out. And I regret that every single day. But what you just said, that was cruel. You don't believe in me, yet I still believe in you. She leaned forward, eyes glassy but determined. If that's how you see it, fine. Sit back. Watch me. I'll show you I'm not what you think. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Come in, I said sharply, still riding the wave of frustration. Tessa's voice called from the hallway. Sorry to interrupt. Everything okay, Miles? I blinked, suddenly aware of the time and the temperature in the room. I'd let things get away from me. Sorry, Tessa. Please don't come in. Celeste was just leaving. I turned to Celeste with a pointed stare. She remained seated for a moment, stunned, until she glanced toward the door. Tessa stood there, a vision of quiet elegance, younger, graceful, and radiantly composed. Celeste's expression darkened instantly. She understood in an instant why Tessa was there. Her eyes moved to the wine, the food, The atmosphere I hadn't bothered to explain. What? I said flatly. You thought this was all for you? My voice dropped, hard and direct. I told you, Celeste, this wasn't a dinner invitation. You're here because I needed to talk some sense into you. Nothing more. Celeste sprang to her feet, head bowed, and brushed past Tessa. Tell Leah I'll be waiting in the car, she muttered. Tessa stepped aside, concern in her eyes. I didn't mean to make things worse. You didn't, I said. You probably saved me from saying something I'd regret. Honestly, I'm glad you showed up. She smiled faintly. Should I tell Harper not to come tonight? I shook my head. No, this wasn't about you. And yeah, please cancel with Harper. I'll handle the pasta. Can you watch the sauce a second? She nodded, and I stepped outside. Leah was dozing on the back terrace, bathed in golden sunlight. I hesitated a moment before speaking. How's the view? I asked. She stretched slightly, not opening her eyes. Just like you said, Miles. Amazing. I sat beside her, letting the quiet linger before asking, how'd it go inside? She chuckled. You mean no plates thrown? No one set the curtains on fire? Not great. She's not backing down. Celeste in the car, sulking. She turned to face me. Can I ask you something? Of course. She looked me over, something more curious than playful in her eyes. How do you see your future in all this? I mean, how ambitious are you really, Miles? I raised an eyebrow. Why? If you're asking what I think you are, she said, sitting up straighter, then yes. I'd take Celeste's job. I know I can do better, but I won't sell my soul to get it. I nodded, thoughtful. I think it's time to shut this circus down. Can you get in touch with Julian Marks? Meet me in town in 3 weeks. She smiled. I'll make it happen. We stepped back inside. Tessa was still at the stove, stirring pasta. She gave me a playful elbow. Now I get it. No wonder Celeste ran out of here like that. You sly old dog. Leah laughed. She's gorgeous. Probably the final nail in Celeste's coffin. Poor woman never stood a chance. Not even I do. Tessa grinned, glancing at me. Celeste's probably licking her wounds in the car right now. I smiled. She'll be okay. Eventually. Leah stepped forward, whispering in Tessa's direction. Watch out, girl. Miles is the kind of guy who sneaks up on you. Makes you fall for him before you even notice. Tessa looked amused, but I was thrown off. I frowned. Okay, Leah, I think you've said enough for one night. She headed for the door with a smirk. If you're smart, Tessa, don't let this guy slip away. Then, leaning in, she kissed my cheek. Be smart. I'll see you in 3 weeks. Later, Tessa and I sat out on the back deck with a bottle of Merlot between us, watching ducks drift lazily across the lake. We talked quietly about the day, everything that had happened, everything still to come. I told her about Celeste, the history, the mistakes, the wreckage. You don't really want to do this, do you? Tessa asked gently. I swallowed hard. No, I don't. But I have to. I can't watch everyone else lose their jobs because I chose to take the easy way out. She nodded slowly. If it means anything. I think Celeste still has feelings for you. I let out a dry laugh. She might have, once, but not after what I said today. I held nothing back. Tessa smiled knowingly. For all your tough guy talk, it's obvious you care. Even about her. That's a rare thing. Women notice those things, Miles. I didn't answer. I just took another sip of beer, eyes fixed on the rippling water. Tessa gently placed a hand on my arm. If I'm right about you, you'll do what's best for everyone, even if it hurts. I nodded, the weight of it all settling in my chest. But I'm afraid, I said quietly, not everyone will agree with what that is. Tessa simply shrugged, offering a look I couldn't quite decode. Then she poured us another glass. She made her bed, Miles. Not you, Tessa said softly. Now she gets to lie in it. I nodded, lost in my thoughts. Just as I was drifting off, Tessa's voice pulled me back. Speaking of beds, she said with a teasing grin, when are you going to show me yours? I blinked, caught completely off guard. What? Tessa laughed. Leah said if I want to claim you, I'd better not back off. My brow lifted. She said that. Tessa nodded, that same knowing smile on her face. If you're smart, Tessa, don't let this one get away. She leaned a little closer. So I'm grabbing hold of someone I think is worth holding on to. I couldn't help but smile. So, you're interested in more than just friendship? Tessa giggled. You're blushing, Miles. I rubbed my face and laughed. You sure know how to make a guy feel awkward. I didn't mean to mess this up. I'm not exactly batting 1,000 with women. Tessa softened. You didn't mess up anything. When you walked into my store that day, saw I was struggling, and jumped in to help, you felt like a knight rescuing a damsel in distress. I chuckled. Yeah, but turns out the damsel had the steel spine. She smiled, then kissed my cheek. You've been that knight for me ever since. I know now why you've been so protective. She paused, searching my face. It must have crushed you, when Celeste made you feel like you weren't needed anymore. But if it helps. I do need you, Miles. I haven't felt this safe since Ethan died. There was something in her voice, gentle but firm. It's a man thing, she added. Celeste never got it. I'm not even sure you did until recently. I nodded, unsure of what to say. You've been good to me, Tessa said. Really good. And when Leah stirred the pot, that's when I realized I've got real feelings for you. She took my hand. So what do you say? Want to take this to the next level? I smiled, then gave a little bow. Well, madam, if you insist, I suppose I'll just have to show you my etchings. Her eyes lit up. Forget the etchings. I'm more interested in the tool you used to carve them. We both burst into laughter as she stood, heading for the bedroom. Race you. Later that evening, I walked into the restaurant where Julian and Leah were already waiting. Julian stood with a grin and offered his hand. Long time no see, old friend. You look 10 years younger. I feel 10 years lighter, I replied, shaking his hand. How's life treating you? He shrugged. Average to average. But hey, no complaints. Nobody listens anyway. I turned to Leah and kissed her cheek. You look radiant, as always. I still don't know what you saw in that brute, but I hope he treated you right. Leah laughed. He was a little rough around the edges, but I've got a thing for rugged charm. I raised an eyebrow. And how would you know what I've got? Because I watch people, Miles. Like I told Celeste. And I saw how you reacted when I asked Julian to join us. You two make a solid team. Julian grinned. Speaking of that, what kind of offer do you have for us? Straight to the point. Classic Julian, I said, amused. All right. Business first. Then we eat. Once our drinks arrived, I laid it out. The company's in bad shape. And if we don't act soon, it's not just Celeste on the chopping block, it's everyone. As you both know, job prospects out here are slim to none. I pulled folders from my bag and slid a white one across to Julian. This is the base strategy. If you see something you don't like, say so. Julian flipped through the pages while I opened a second folder. This one lists key people. Allies. You'll need to win them over however you see fit. Julian nodded as he read. You've clearly done your homework. You're not just going after JPL and Celeste. You're targeting Dobson Incorporated and Colin, too. We have no choice, I said. Once Dobson acquired JPL, the board became the new battlefield. My original plan was focused on JPL, but now we have to hit both fronts. If we can win over Dobson's board and Leah pulls the strings at JPL, we might actually stand a chance. Julian passed the folder to Leah. He's not kidding. This plan is ambitious, maybe too ambitious. I think we need Reed Collins, I said. He's the numbers guy, good at creative accounting. Leah nodded. I'll talk to him. He doesn't like you much, but I can handle it. Julian skimmed the second folder. Some of these people. I don't even know how to reach them. I smirked. What do you think I've been doing for the last 3 weeks? There's one name you need to focus on, Slovak. Without him, the whole plan falls apart. Julian raised an eyebrow. How do you get this deep into the game? If I were that influential, Slovak would already be on board, I said, sliding another folder his way. That one's your meeting schedule. Slovak's not on it, yet. Leah looked up. Isn't Slovak related to Russell Banks? Julian and I exchanged a look. Can you work your magic? Julian asked. I've got a meeting with Russell tomorrow, Leah said. I'll bring it up. Relief swept through me. Perfect. I've set everything up. We just need to tighten the details. Leah sighed. It's hard to believe Colin didn't see this mess coming. He did, I said. He just didn't care. Celeste's his safety net. When this crashes, she'll take the fall. Leah frowned. She's selfish, yeah, but even she doesn't deserve that. I agree, I said, though I wasn't sure anymore. Colin's going to have to act fast if he wants to stay clean before the next shareholder meeting, I said. We need to move even faster. Make a clean strike, impress the big shots, and we're golden. Julian leaned back, arms crossed. You sound pretty confident we're going to say yes to this plan. I gave him a half smile. Think about it. What exactly do you have to lose? Celeste's out there pitching her own ideas. You really want to sit on the sidelines while she drives the bus off a cliff? He didn't answer. You haven't found another job that actually uses your skills, have you? I added. And we both know you're not on Colin's holiday card list. Leah believes in you. So do I. All the hard stuff's done. You just need to bring it across the finish line. Julian gave a dry chuckle. All tied up with a pink ribbon, huh? Leah looked less amused. What about Colin? You really think he'll let us pull this off without a fight? He could shut us down before we even get traction. I smiled darkly. Leave Colin to me. You won't have to deal with him. Just keep Celeste distracted, long enough to keep her from realizing what we're doing. Leah smirked. That won't be hard. She's been rattled since you laid into her. Doesn't know whether it's Monday or Thursday. Tessa had gotten under her skin, and now Celeste was desperate to prove me wrong. A little too desperate. You really messed with her head, Miles, Leah said, laughing. We finished our meal while fine-tuning the plan. By the end, we agreed to meet again in 2 days with a small group to finalize everything. The next meeting was tense. Leah and Julian brought in a handful of trusted allies, including Reed Collins. Reed arrived with a chip on his shoulder and his usual scowl. Let me see the financials, he said, grabbing the folders and flipping through them like they owed him money. He moved fast, adding, subtracting, cross-referencing data like a machine. This is garbage, Corbin, he said. These projections are worthless. I kept calm. They're estimates. Forward-looking models. Reed snorted. Don't quit your day job. I've seen better predictions in horoscopes. I leaned in. Reed, I know we haven't talked since Celeste took over, but I brought you here because you're good, damn good. His posture stiffened. Don't patronize me. I may be a workhorse, but I know when someone's buttering me up. That wasn't flattery. Just facts. I turned to the group. What are the rest of you planning to do when this next shareholder meeting hits? You can walk away now, sure. I'll go back to my quiet little lake town, crack open a cold one. But you? You'll be stuck figuring out how to survive the bloodbath. Reed, you could find work tomorrow. But the rest of these people? They need this. They need you. Reed paused, folding his arms. This isn't about giving Celeste a promotion, I added, shaking my head. She's my ex-wife, and if I have anything to say about it, she'll be lucky if she's still got a chair at the next board meeting. Reed looked around, then back at the numbers. You know, he muttered, I've spent years doing miracles with nothing. Maybe now's the time I try doing everything with nothing. What's the deadline for this so-called miracle? Julian answered. 3 o'clock tomorrow. Reed blinked. Holy hell. Even God would call that a stretch. The room quieted, until Reed cracked a grin. If I pull this off, I want a plaque over my desk that says God. Julian laughed. I'll personally engrave it, and the rest of us will kneel before you. Relief broke over the room. All right, I said. We're in overtime now. Mend fences if you have to, and get moving. Leah stepped up beside me. Can I bring in the typing team for support? I handed her the metaphorical keys. Your show now? I'll stay back and answer questions if needed. She turned to Julian, raising an eyebrow. Pull it together, honey. People are watching. Show them they can count on you. Within the hour, Leah had teams organized and ideas flying. Reed tried pushing back, but Leah wasn't having it. I don't care what you need, Reed. Just get it done. Julian chuckled. You were right, Miles. She's a firecracker. I smiled. Never had a doubt. An hour later, I walked straight into Colin's office, ignoring the shocked assistant trying to stop me. I'm sorry, sir, he just walked in. It's fine, Danielle, Colin said, waving her off. Let the lion in the den. He leaned back in his chair with that smug look I always hated. What's the Corbin invasion about? That's no way to greet a guest, I said, my smile tight. I figured a businessman of your caliber would know how to show a little humility when he's cornered. Colin didn't respond, just stared, waiting for me to say something. But I didn't rush. I knew better. Let him speak first. After a long silence, beads of sweat started forming on his forehead. You going to say something, or just keep burning holes in my desk? He asked finally. I checked the time. You've got a shareholder meeting in an hour, right? Well, I'm here to help you pack. Colin's jaw tightened. And where exactly do you think I'm going? Don't care. As long as you're gone by the end of today. And if I don't feel like going, he sneered. I'm close to retirement. I'm not throwing away my golden parachute for you. I stepped forward, my voice cold. 2 choices, Colin. 1, you resign today. Quietly. Walk out with whatever dignity you've got left. Or 2, I go scorched earth and tear your legacy apart, starting with your family. Colin's face went pale. And for the first time since I'd met him, he didn't have anything clever to say. You'll be lucky if there's enough left for a cup of coffee, I said. Colin scowled, clearly trying to find a way out. I did what you asked, Corbin. I gave Celeste the VP role, just like you wanted. She's running JPL now. So why the threats? We've never even met face to face until today, but I always thought you were a man of your word. He leaned forward. So what changed? Why are you dragging me through the mud now? Why go digging through the past? I stepped forward and planted both hands on his desk, close enough for him to feel the heat coming off me. You did, I said coldly. You changed the rules. I kept my end of the deal. You're the one who broke it. His face twitched. You sabotaged Celeste, I continued. You let her pitch a plan to the board you knew would crash and burn. You figured it'd get rid of two problems at once, her and me. You knew I wouldn't step in to save her. Colin wiped the sweat from his brow, his eyes darting like a trapped animal. I didn't break the deal, he stammered. She came to me. I gave her a shot, sure, but if she failed, that's on her. Cut the crap, I snapped, knocking a few expensive trinkets off his desk. You let her walk into a trap. Everyone knows she wouldn't have made it in front of the board without you clearing the way. I pointed straight at him. That was your choice. And now you face the fallout. Resign, or watch everything come down around you. He stared at me, cycling through every possible emotion, panic, defiance, fear. But I saw it in his eyes. He was cornered. I seriously doubt you have the kind of dirt you think you do, he muttered. I laughed quietly. You really think I've been sitting on my hands all these years? His confidence started to falter. I've got everything. Your backroom deals, financial shoddiness, and let's not forget those two little secrets I'm sure you hoped were long buried. I was bluffing, but Colin didn't know that. I didn't need facts. I just needed him to believe I had them. And judging by the sweat now staining his collar, he did. Jail or retirement, I said, cold and calm. Your call. His eyes darted toward the door. Julian Marks is talking to your board as we speak, I added. He's got a plan that flips everything upside down. I leaned closer. When I leave here, I'll be handing over everything I've got to them. Colin's hand slammed down on the intercom. Danielle, get in here with a pad and pencil. I need to dictate a letter. I casually walked over to his liquor cabinet and poured myself a scotch. You win, Corbin, he said quietly. I'll be gone by the end of the day. As I sipped, Danielle entered, her face stiff with professionalism as she sat at Colin's desk. She took down his resignation, stifling a laugh more than once, and hurried out as soon as she could. Colin looked like a man who'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. As he walked past me toward the door, shoulders sagging, I called after him. I hear the South Pole is beautiful this time of year. Don't worry, I won't come looking for you. Oh, I added, have a great day, Colin. A few moments later, Danielle returned, tears in her eyes. Before I could speak, she stepped forward and hugged me. Thank you, Mr. Corbin. You have no idea how much this means to me. I pulled back, startled. Wait, what exactly are you thanking me for? Her voice trembled. Colin was blackmailing me. It started with subtle comments. Then came the threats. I didn't know what to do. But now, I feel free. I can finally breathe again. Fury burned inside me. So I had been right. Colin had used Celeste, and when she was no longer useful, he set his sights on someone new. Well, I said, if all goes to plan, from now on he'll only be asking you to do your job and nothing else. Danielle smiled and kissed my cheek. You're on my Christmas list now. I may even convince my husband to name our next son after you. She handed me an envelope. That was the most fun I've ever had typing a letter. 6 months later, I walked into the same office Colin once called his throne. Morning, Danielle, I said, giving her a playful smile. The boss in? She returned the smile warmly. Good morning, Mr. Corbin. Yes, Mr. Marks is expecting you. As I stepped toward the door, she added, and you were right. He's everything a secretary could want in a boss. Thanks again. I paused, turning back with a grin. Call me Miles. Mr. Corbin was my father. She chuckled as I walked inside. Julian stood and met me with a grin. Miles, you old fool. Where the hell have you been? We shook hands and settled into chairs. I can't thank you enough, he said. Not just for saving the company, especially for Leah and me. She still wakes up pinching herself, wondering if it's real. I raised a brow. Oh, sounds like you know that firsthand. You two merging departments? Julian chuckled. Still negotiating terms. But it's looking promising. He leaned back in his chair. She wants you at the signing. I nodded. I'll be there. Besides, I've got my own little bundle to manage. Tessa's been keeping me grounded. Smart, beautiful, and she makes a hell of a pot roast. Julian laughed. Glad to hear it. And hey, she deserves someone like you. Then his face grew more serious. Have you heard about Celeste? The mood shifted instantly. Yeah, I said quietly. Leah called me the day Celeste was hospitalized. Sounds like the pressure finally caught up to her, and she cracked under it. Julian leaned back in his chair, arms folded. Leah wanted you to go visit her, right? She did. Thought I could help smooth things over, maybe offer some closure, I said. But honestly, I didn't see the point. Showing up then would have just poured fuel on the fire. Celeste needed real help, not a guilt trip from me. Until she got that, anything I said would have just made it worse. Julian nodded slowly, then shrugged. Leah felt sorry for her. That's just how she is. Always trying to patch up broken things. He hesitated for a second. I'm thinking of giving Celeste a job at JPL. Nothing fancy, just a secretarial role. You okay with that? I paused, then shook my head. Doesn't bother me. Honestly, I don't feel anything toward her anymore. She's just someone I used to know. I hope she finds peace and maybe, someday, some perspective. That's about it. Julian gave me a look, one eyebrow raised. So, know it's to come back to the business world? I could find you something, decent title, solid compensation, maybe even a corner office. I grinned. Not a chance. Besides, you've got divine intervention now. That made him burst out laughing. God, Reed. I almost forgot. You were right about him, absolute math wizard. He shook his head, still chuckling. Every board meeting, he'd hand me perfect forecasts and detailed projections like he was channeling some Wall Street oracle. The board ate it up. What happened? I asked. Julian leaned forward. He started choking any time a woman paid attention to him. Could break down fiscal trends over 5 years, but the second someone asked about his weekend plans, he froze. If he ever cracks that formula, I'll build him a temple. I laughed. I would have paid good money to see that. Julian smirked. While Reed was conquering spreadsheets, Colin was sweating bullets at the exact table I sit at now. Miley's old story, I said. Just a different villain. Julian nodded. Well, the chair fits better now. He got quiet for a second. But seriously, if you ever want back in, say the word. We could use a guy like you. I shook my head. Thanks, Kev. But I've got everything I need now. Tessa and I launched our own lakeside resort. Quiet. Peaceful. And right now, I'm here to offer you corporate retreat discounts for Thanksgiving. Maybe even toss in a fishing contest to sweeten the deal. Julian's face lit up. That actually sounds brilliant. Team bonding through competitive casting. I love it. Tessa and I ended up going to Julian and Leah's wedding. Now they've got 2 little boys, both adorable, both already trying to run the world like their parents. Every Christmas, Danielle sends us a card. Last year, she even convinced her husband to name their daughter Milesantha, Miles, for short. Still cracks me up when I think about it. And Colin? He disappeared not long after his wife kicked him out. She tossed his suits and golf clubs on the lawn and ran the sprinklers. His prized Elvis signed guitar? Cracked in 2 and turned into a necklace for her garden gnome. I heard he's somewhere in Antarctica now, chasing penguins and avoiding extradition. Celeste? After all that Colin put her through, she finally accepted Leah's offer for a humble secretarial job. She sold her ridiculous mansion and bought a quiet little apartment close to work. No more dreams of climbing the ladder, just the day-to-day grind. She's surviving, if not thriving. We crossed paths again at the company's Thanksgiving event by the lake. She hadn't planned to come, but Leah convinced her. Said it would be good for her. We talked. Really talked. It wasn't angry. It wasn't awkward. It was healing. She apologized, owned up to how arrogant she'd been, how she lost herself in the climb. I apologized too, told her the decisions I made were brutal, but necessary. For the company. For the people. Even for her. She told me therapy helped. Said she finally understood how lost she'd been. She even laughed when I told her what happened to Colin's guitar. That was the first time I'd seen her genuinely smile in years. I don't know if she's seeing anyone now. Leah said she's tried dating women, but nothing ever sticks. Honestly, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. That chapter closed a long time ago. That's her life now. And she's the one who has to live it. 6 months after that party, Tessa and I got married. She and Ellie moved into the cottage full-time, and our little world started to feel like home. One afternoon, I walked into the bedroom to find her holding a framed photo of Ethan, her late husband. She kissed it gently, smiled, and placed it in a drawer with care. I watched for a moment, then stepped forward. I opened my own keepsake box and pulled out a photo of Glory, my late wife. I placed it beside Ethan's. I think he'd want to know his wife's okay, I said quietly. That she's safe, loved, taken care of. Miles's Glory would have wanted for me. Tessa's eyes welled with tears, and she hugged me tightly. You're a good man, Miles Corbin, she whispered. Ethan would have liked you. Probably would have had a beer with you out on the porch, talking about fishing and fate. She smiled. I've had a guardian angel watching over me all this time. Now I've got a soulmate too. How did I get so lucky? I didn't have an answer. I just knew I felt better, more whole, than I had in decades. Ellie's 5 now, always tagging along in the shop. She still calls me Miles, but every now and then, I catch her saying Dad to someone else when she thinks I'm not listening. Last summer, we gave her a surprise, her baby brother, Noah. He's loud, fast, and completely steals the spotlight. But I don't mind. I spoil them both without apology. Even my doctor's happy. Says my blood pressure's never been better. Maybe I should send Celeste a thank you card for pushing me toward a healthier life. Then again, probably not. Just kidding.